thank you for joining our studio this afternoon. Hello, guys. You're welcome to Matters Horizon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to have me.
Kingsley, you've not been around since morning.
Yeah.
You went to the court?
No, I went to see Pueblo in his hotel.
All right, we'll get back to that. Let's start from what we have here. We'll talk about Edo State very soon. Our nation is at the middle of its tenure for this dispensation. You know, Asiwaju's, do we call it mandate? Mandate. You know, people were singing on his mandate, we shall stand. You know, apart from Wike, there were a lot of other people singing that. But we are midway into that mandate. A lot of Nigerians are not standing with that mandate. Not that they are not refuting that, as like Onayekon said, Supreme Court has told us that you are the winner and we have accepted it. Let's move on. Now, what are you doing? Atiku says he's spending
Recklessly.
Borrowing recklessly. He's spending so much money servicing the debt than he is earning. About 130%. That is not sustainable. Even though why debt, I mean, you know, you can take debt to achieve certain things that you don't have the money immediately, and hopefully invest in assets that will eventually yield to pay off those debts. That is actually business. That's business in private sector. Yeah. The money doesn't have to belong to you. You know, that's what business is. And then when government try to do that, it's also okay. But if you are spending more than you are earning, you are hoping that the future, you know, the future generation might be able to do better than you. That is the hope. It might not happen. If they are reckless as you, they might not be able to do that. Why not operate within the framework of your time? That every year, what you earn should be sufficient to service your debt and sufficient to develop other infrastructures. Let me take a peek at you, Kingsley.
Okay, you know, see, most of the projections they normally have are things they think in their head, not things they work on hand. Okay. Now, the biggest, will I say, owers in the world is also the biggest debtors, givers. Do you understand? And all that. The biggest debtors are the biggest givers as well. America is one of the biggest debtors.
I think they are the biggest.
Do you understand? But they're also, now, their aid channel through US aid is closed up, but they give all over the world, and they have military stations and bases all over the world that they service to be at where they are. But as Afro said that, if you are earning, you can't just carry your earning and leave what you have at home and just be servicing debt and all that. And that's why, and you are still borrowing from other sources. And most of the projects that you say you are borrowing to finance, we don't see them. They've not had impact on the economy. And
okay, let's take a stretch from where we restored Nigeria to democracy in 1999. We had, you know, series of debts that were preventing us from moving ahead. Obasanjo, you know, was visiting here and there, and at the end of the day, he got results. A lot of our debts were cancelled, almost all, you know, that were, you know, preventing us to move forward. And, you know, economy restarted again, and we started making progress. From when Jonathan left, I think APC, putting it up together, has increased our debt more than 1,000%. More than 1,000%. That's a lot. Even since Asiwaju came, the debt profile has increased almost with 65%. You know, and we are not seeing any infrastructure that is going to serve as an asset. Yes, there are certain infrastructures you can do because you have excess crude. There are certain other infrastructures that you should use loan for. Simple economics tells you that you should only use loan for those assets that's going to generate money over time and pay back the loan. Otherwise, it's going to be a reckless decision. Do you think Asiwaju is making reckless decision the way Atiku, you know, is trying to? Or Atiku is just playing politics and wants to be hard?
Yeah, I'll get to that. Before I do that, I remember some weeks ago, some people attacked us online that we want to talk about Nigerians paying off their money with IMF. And then they said that when I read it, I laughed because we have a debt profile that nobody's talking about. knocking, you're paying out IMF. I'm going to your question. You're paying off IMF. From which money? It's like digging hole to cover hole.
Yeah. Digging a bigger hole.
Yeah. See, now, this money we're borrowing, have you looked at the cost and benefits, and have you done cost and benefit analysis of it? You don't just borrow for the fun of borrowing. You borrow it to fund critical infrastructure. And some of this money should be invested in a venture that will repay itself. If this money is put into agriculture, we borrowed for agriculture. If this money is put into security, we know now, okay, based on this money now, we are resolving our security issues. But at the end of the day, we are not seeing where this money has gone into. So that's when I feel like they're being reckless with their borrowing.
Okay, let's give them some benefit of that. How about we request for more details about these borrowings? Because he talked about digging hole to cover hole, that you have not made any progress. But sometimes it's not always like that. Sometimes you can dig hole to cover hole. For example, if the conditions for the new loans are better, they at lower interest rates. In business, you do that. You can take a loan of lower interest rate to pay back a loan of higher interest rate. You have made progress. Okay, what about we request a further request instead of just outrightly coming to condemn like Atiku has said? Do you think Atiku has all the details to be sure Asiwaju has not, done what is in the best interest of Nigerians?
Now, if you are doing something that is of my interest, you should be able to explain to me that I'm doing this to do this. Now, if you see one of the characteristics of this government is that they don't explain to you. They don't tell you this is what we are doing to solve this one, to solve this one, to solve this one. Even when people keep asking and asking and asking, that's one of their characteristics that they don't explain to you. That this loan we are collecting, they just tell you that the move we took to float the naira to remove subsidy is paying dividends.
Yeah.
And brother,
And that has been challenged very, very
where is the dividends?
So far, the people can't feel it.
But that's keep on being.
And when you remove the float, when you floated the naira, when you remove the subsidy, the people felt it.
The people, I mean, the feeling needs an
They
understanding.
didn't need NBS reporting or any CBN reporting.
No, it was
They knew.
tough.
They knew you removed it.
Exactly.
So when the benefits start, the people should know.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Thank God though. Milk that used to be 2,000 is now 1,000 or 1,500. I mean, we know, but now we've not seen.
We used to have only one brand of milk, monopolizing the market, but now we have 10 brands.
10
More
brands.
industries are opened up.
And if there is physical development, Okafor will see it. We've not seen the physical development. We've not seen an airport that has been branded. We've not seen that being newly built. We've not seen the road that is going from Sokoto to Lagos.
And the funny thing is that people are essentially not so crazy about the new expressways they want to do.
We already have roads.
We have. Let's us maintain all the ones we have. It is when you use those ones to saturation point before you say, "Oh, in this axis we need some. In this axis we need some." That you see, people don't get it. That's also what is happening in FCT in some form. In as much as people are giving Wike credit because the other minister, people didn't even know his name.
But
A lot of people don't know his name.
MC Tagoy came here yesterday and told us that the teachers have been on strike for 4 months.
For about 3-4 months now.
Yes.
Yes. The children, this last Children's Day, the children were at home. They were at home celebrating Children's Day under
The
strike.
same thing with healthcare workers.
Under weekend.
And also commission
that's what I was telling you.
Misplacement of priority.
So when we talked about priority, we say, okay, now talk about refurbishing or revamping of our international conference center. Fine, but they're talking about 39 billion naira. That what is a fraction of the amount to pay our teachers? But to ensure that our children are not at home. How do you get a conscience of keeping kids at home? And the cardinal date of Children's Day was not sufficient for you to yield. At the end of the day, that singular project of what use is it going to be to everybody? When people now say you pick on the projects that you like, bridges are beautiful, bridges are fine, but if bridges are not solving immediate problem of congestion, you might have other priorities like reduction of unemployment rates and things like that, and ensure that Abuja residents, indeed, Nigerians are at work, because Abuja is a galvanizing point for everybody. Nigerians, no matter how you look at it.
Yes. No, this news is troublesome. It's troubling me because education is a critical factor of this economy, of our life.
One of the contestants of the
can't you afford education and you're building bridge?
One of the contestants of AMAC chairmanship was here yesterday. MC Tagwai. People refer to him as Buhari double because he used to mimic Buhari. Yeah. So he was very categorical that if he was AMAC chairman, he wouldn't allow such to happen. He is a former teacher. Yeah. He was a teacher before. So he said he wouldn't allow that to happen because you can't attack the kid and claim victory.
So those kids now should have been armed robbers, pickpockets.
No, but I told you how I saw one who was trying to hawk. Yes. I said, "Come, you should be in school." He said, "We are on strike."
So is it everybody
was trying to sell an item to me?
Yesterday I was trying to tell you. I said, look at the proportion of the number of people that goes to private school and look at the proportion of the number of students that are in public school. It will shock you because the age where we live, we think everybody's child goes to private school. But I can tell you the greater proportion, right? Maybe 70% of the kids
they go to public school.
Of course. That's the minimum.
So if the public schools are not functioning, the education is on the downturn in this city.
And now you are talking about education. I'm sure you saw the news where those writing WAEC had to do it at night. Some were using lantern.
But some of we have done it before.
Yeah, but it wasn't normal.
That was dead now.
That was what was considered normal.
Do you know why I told you I've done it before?
Yeah.
It has not changed.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I can tell you. Yeah. It's still the same old structure, civil servant structure, WAEC structure. I'm just trying to bring it to your notice that it has not changed. Everybody go there as a JAMB director or WAEC coordinator in the state, in the local government. But most of them...
Don't you think in 2025 it's atrocious?
It is.
To subject the kids under exam condition, who probably didn't do it before like he did before. To force them to write exam with torchlights at night. There was no public electricity. Some were using lanterns, some were using candle, and somebody came out to defend them, and they said and spoke for them that because of their tradition of trying to prevent malpractice. That is why you saw things like that. Such defense in the face of failure. How did we get to this point?
That's so funny. That's why most times when Philip said this, I understand what he said. So one good head can change a lot. So most times we'll appoint people that don't have any program to roll out. People that want to maintain the status quo. See, no, this is a computer age. Beyond them. Those things happen in our time. Then we're not having this. Time has changed. We should evolve with time. We should get people that understand the terrain they're going into. You don't just appoint for appointment's sake. Most time, we want to use appointment to settle our political friends.
Yes.
What are they looking at? And can they fit into that office? Can they deliver the essence of being in that office? Most of them can't. Most of them, they just control with what they made there. In this age, you just can't do the right. What are you defending? What schools are you giving?
In the universities that we're still talking about, don't people use candle? Public university, or will I say government universities?
That's what I'm saying to you. Okay, you want people in there. Get the right people. They do right things.
So most of I told you the other day, we met a man that has been a minister, and he was minister of power. I say, are you telling me that this man was minister of power? What does he know about power? What does he know about Jennifer?
The head of the place should step aside.
That's the most basic thing.
That's how it should be done. The head of, when we called for registrar of JAM to step aside, people were like, oh.
Has he stepped aside?
As when NIC didn't transmit your results, what did you people do?
Did you call, what's his name, Mahmoud to step aside? So even if you call him, will he step aside?
But this is our tradition of building on failure, because it was done badly that last time, then it has to be done like that again. How do we challenge this tradition?
No, get the right people. Let me give you an instance. You know how hard it was to get Nigerian passport before?
Yes.
But somebody came and changed the system.
Yeah.
Somebody that knows what that office needs. Just to run that office. So get the right people into offices. This will end. This will end.
Look, I've always said it, punishment is not because I hate you.
No.
Punishment is for you to know
If
that.
you punish person and put the wrong person, it will continue.
Okay, let's move forward. Wike was talking about ground rent in Abuja. Some of the cases he cited are actually very pathetic. How can somebody, who owns a land or property, knowing the agreement you entered into with the municipal, whichever authority, with the FCT authority, not pay ground rent for 20 years, for 30 years, and the place is still operational? It's not like there is any court case preventing them, or there was a time the ownership of the place was being litigated such that you don't know who should pay. I mean, isn't that atrocious from Abuja residents? Within 5 years, it's understandable. You can't go and take over somebody's land or house because he didn't pay within 5 years. But I mean, Wike was citing 20, 30, even 40 years.
You see, most of the time, most of these things that we normally talk about, I say two things. I say they are what you call rights and they are what you call obligations.
Certainly.
And the people have a right, but the government has an obligation.
Yeah.
Now, the obligation is to protect us, to make sure there is good security, good roads, good days. But our own right is to make sure we also pay what is due for us to pay. On both sides, there have been defaults. I don't know.
I was one pointing out government defaults.
Let's be fair and flat. The people get the kind of government that they want. And most of these people that they are saying they are defaulted are most of them government offices and officials and houses that belongs to complexes that they are making a lot of money.
All right, I think that he was just bringing in the area I wanted to put you on, but somehow he touched it, which is government themselves feeling in their responsibility. The other day, we talked about, just that's one out of many. The road, to official residence of Wike. I don't know if he uses there, if he sleeps there or not, but that's the official residence of FCT minister. That street, the road that it intersects with, is also the road that leads to FCT High Court, Life Camp, and a magistrate court in the same place. That road now is being rehabilitated by the residents under self-help contribution. How much can government also fail? It shows government failure. And these people in those places are either contributing land rent or contributing, making payment for defaulting in grant payment, which is also money or income to the government. Because when you default, you pay and all that. So a lot of payments coming in there from residents into government coffers. But government couldn't do that. The street here the houses FCT minister's president is well paved and clean. Okay, going into Julius Berger, the one that listens to Julius Berger Life Camp, all these areas are clean. But coming this way, you have to take to Radar Catholic Church, which is the major road serving from that roundabout straight to Cafe District and Life Camp area and a lot of estates there. It's unattended, and the people right from Stella Mary are the one repairing the roads. That's just roads. So let's not talk of other amenities. If roads that is just to pass, the government have not even done that. So when government seize up or revoke the people's land, what should the people that have been, doing their own duties, what should they do to government? Instant court you go to and nothing happens.
The best is to go to court. What he said was right. There's been failure on both sides, and it's neither here or there. The both sides have failed each other. But I believe in this. If you provide the amenities, people will be happy to pay. My friend took me to somewhere in Kubwa. He said, "Be there across. He's putting up a structure. They are raising money to Chichi Road. Then same government will come and ask him to pay the grand rate. There is no water. They provide their own security. They're now providing their own road. I want them to pay the grand rate. Do what you ought to do as a government. And the citizens will do yes. So this failure on both sides needs to be resolved. Government do their bid. And government has to
But
do their bid first.
government has the fiat right to just revoke your land. But
you don't have
the power right to demand.
See, most of the time we don't plan government. We plan government based on politicians coming into power. But government is supposed to be a structure that is passed on from one body to the other. Mm-hmm. Now they should have also noticed and looked at the fact that the FCTA and the AMAC, for example, AMAC right now or area councils are swallowed up by FCT.
Yes.
We don't even know
they are dominated.
They are dominated. Yeah. They are supposed to be a clear-cut role for both. This one does this one.
But we are hearing that even the one that was very clear before, like markets and all that AMAC were
because it's revenue based.
Because we are hearing so the ICT is now coming.
Now the AMAC that were collecting the money before, what were they doing? It was based on that they are collecting it. If I'm doing your duties for you, that means what you are collecting money from, I should collect it from you because I'm doing your duties for you. Now in developed countries, they mark it out in units.
Okay, it's like you strongly agree with that analogy because there's a responsibility from the laws creating all of them.
Yes, sir.
Because, for example, now because Atiku think, although the analogy is very weak though, but because Atiku think Asiwaju is not doing what he should do, Atiku can't just take over Asiwaju's function because he doesn't. The law does not enable him to do that. He didn't win the election.
See, he's coming from the mentality of Nigerian governors. There's local government.
Yes.
Ought to be autonomous.
With their rules.
Yes, that's what I'm done.
And the law didn't say that if they fail to do it, that you should take over.
Yeah,
if they fail to do it, you should probably have the people, the subjects, either take them to court or hold them to account.
See, these are elected officers. You're elected. You actually have a mandate to your people. So you can't come in and take over your responsibility because there is revenue there.
But I agree with you that not just only AMAC, the entire Abuja, all the councils, all the area councils, they have left their job, their duty for the FCT.
Look, Kafo, let me tell you something. You know, they say evil strive when good men fold their hands and do nothing.
Yes, sir.
The whole local government system in Nigeria has been ignored. And as a result of that, the governors are taking advantage of them. If you go to a particular local government in this country, let's even leave FCT area councils on.
But why
you find
is
out
unique?
Because we are
the administration is superimposed in a way.
But you see that because we are talking about local government autonomy, why are the governors being able to take over the local government funds? Even till today,
but that one is a little bit different. Can I tell you why? One, elections of those local government councils are conducted by the state electoral body. But that of AMAC is conducted by the INEC.
I agree with you. But as it is, because they don't have an electoral body. If they had an electoral body, the same thing would happen. What I'm trying to say, the legislature of Abuja, right, FCT, is being done by the National Assembly. Am I correct?
Yes.
So everything, they don't have a legislature of their own. But the ones that have a legislature of their own, the same thing that they do, because the local government autonomy that we're talking about, because the local government chairman, they go there, they see the local government as a cash cow. They enrich themselves.
All right, let's go to where the local governments and where the states have a legislature. Let's go to those states. Okpebolo, the Apicus says, unanimous decision that they can't find the miscarriage. They look for miscarriage of justice. Where it is, we couldn't find it. They checked their drawer. Where is miscarriage? They couldn't find miscarriage of justice. They said, Babalo, it's still the governor.
But we explain that because that's been tradition. Just excuse me.
What do you mean by tradition?
See, as most times in Nigeria, they fight to be announced as winner. Nigeria just fight. Just announce me as winner. Later, that doesn't play out. How many governors, how many people that have won election that were removed via election tribunal?
A lot. There are quite a few of them.
Who are who? Okay, probably let me consider those, that period. But as it stands
Even your
now,
home state.
Yes, they do.
Prof
Was removed.
Prof
For
Subsidy.
Shomole. Shomole came through.
Because Shomole came through the
that
courts.
is when our system worked. I'm talking about this last 8-10 years. Nothing. Just declare me the winner, and we know what happens.
All right.
So most of these cases, you cannot substantiate them in the courts.
Let's put it this way: there's not much we can do. The appeal court is larger part of the entire judiciary, which there's not. The Chief Justice of Federation the other day promised us that we are going to see a change.
That's
in the judiciary. Kekereekun. That shows, there's a recognition that something is not all right. So let's give them some time and see if there is a change or not.
But also,
but I'm coming to you with something else.
Yes.
Yeah, I have been an advocate of this, that if I find my way to the Senate or any of the houses of the National Assembly, my first law I'm going to push forward is that judiciary should have no power. 1 person, 3 persons, 5 persons, 7 persons should have no power to determine who rules a state. It's really atrocious. If they think there should be a correction to our electoral act, if they think the process was not followed, they can order a rerun in the areas affected. The only body, people, the prerogative of electing leaders should be that of the people. I'm hoping we are able to get INEC to be transparent and do their jobs. And if the INEC should do what they are expected to do, issues of, we might be spending money repeatedly to conduct election, it won't arise. Because I've always given an example by that. If I make ATM withdrawal, immediately my system is updated. If I send you email, immediately it's updated. If I transfer to OPay now or whatever account, immediately it's updated. INEC can't say they don't know these things exist. They can't claim that. If INEC is doing that, I don't see 3 men seated on the table and looking at law. I said something the other day that the judiciary of Nigeria today is about the administration of law instead of administration of justice. We shouldn't have 3 persons, 5 persons, 7 persons determining who rules across constituencies, across the state. It's not right. It's not the right thing.
But this is a legal constitutional matter.
As it is today.
As it is today.
And
most of the time to change it is going to be difficult.
I think from electoral acts they can do that.
No. From electoral acts they can't do that.
Constitution?
It's from constitution. Okay. Because the judiciary have their place, the legislature have their place, and the executive have their place. So from the constitutional viewpoint, if 2 people disagree
we'll check if it's something covered by electoral act or constitution.
Now, like I said,
to change constitution not be here.
It don't be here. Let's build it from the ground up. There's a problem with an executive arm, which is the electoral body, INEC, that says you won or you lost. Now, after they've told us that this is the way we are going to do election, on the day of election, you abandon what you have practiced.
They abandon their own politics.
Yes, they did. They said the IREFs.
He worked for Senate and House of Rep.
It's still abandonment.
No, so what is it?
What did you work for President?
The fractional abandonment, yes. Do you understand? And you're not saying that it doesn't work. You see, we can't ignore judiciary's arm and what they do.
Can I tell you something? That also has not been as painful as it is that in the recent off-cycle elections they have been doing.
They've not tried it on it.
They have abandoned it completely just to justify the glitch.
Because, not just only to justify the glitch, to go on with their perpetual evil of things they do. Because you find out that all the off-cycle election, the ruling party they boast will take over the state. And most of the time, they've taken over as a result of perpetuating themselves in power through what they are doing. No matter how we have cried, did anybody listen to us that River State, what's it called, emergency rule was wrong or was right?
And that brings us to what we are going to be discussing a little bit. So certain dates are very, very important to Nigeria. Something like June 12th. It's the new date for our democracy day. I'm just wondering. We've discussed it here. I think that was last week or last 2 weeks.
Today is May 29. Today is May 29. Is it not May 29 they hand over?
It's June 12. That's handover. Yeah, but
nothing happens today.
No, it's a new day. It's June 12. So you are behind shit.
How things change so rapidly.
Yes, that's fine. June 12 is okay. It's remarkable. Biola played a very important role in our democracy. And now, come June 12th, I'm just wondering, in Rivers State, how will they celebrate a democracy day? How are they going to? Even Asiwaju himself, who also has emotional affinity with June 12th. Because
is that what he told you?
Yeah, we know that Asiwaju was an exile. He suffered for democracy. He was an exile, for the purpose of democracy. Remember, he was a senator.
The way you talk exile, it's like he's inside the bush fighting.
Wherever he was,
the guy was in London.
Wherever he was,
I would like to be sent on an exile to
London.
London.
He wasn't at home, so it was a prize for democracy. No, let's not discredit that.
Yeah.
It was a prize for democracy. So come June 12th. How will Rivers people celebrate Democracy Day with a sole administrator? Philip usually say that soul means one. Only me, don't question me. Soul, only me. How would they see that?
Now, for me, this year's June 12th celebration is suspended in Rivers State. Since they suspended the goal, so democracy in Rivers State is suspended because I don't see any reason whether they should be marked in Rivers State. But they are under a sole administrator. So for me, there is not like June 12th. And as we've said here, that is wrong, that is unacceptable, and that is a no-no for every right-thinking Nigeria. And for me, June 12th, oppositions should make it a point of discourse, our electoral reform. Let's have something to talk about. There's no jamboree. There's nothing spectacular about this year's June 12th. So let's focus on something. Let the opposition talk about electoral reform. Let's be topic for June 12th. Since the Democracy Day, we need to reform our electoral system. We need an electoral system that when you vote, you see result. We've gone beyond, after voting, you count and carry the result to Abuja to come and announce. We've gone beyond that. Well, we are moving backward. So opposition should hammer on this. You have some elected people in National Assembly. They should champion this. See, all this correlation that we are doing, to me, it will amount to nothing if we don't reform this. So this should be discussed for June 12th.
All right, he was pegging INEC reform to June 12th, but I started from Rivers. Do you think miracle can happen between now and June 12th? Asiwaju will say, okay, Fubara, for the purpose of democracy, but you're not a year old, come back. Do you think things like that can happen?
No.
Maybe just to...
No, you see, let me tell you something. There's what we call the conscience of leaders. Leaders that has a conscience. Yeah. And looking also to appeal to the conscience of the nation. Yeah. If we are suffering, say, look, we are passing through this thing together, let's pass through it together. Looking at a light at the end of the tunnel. But the masses are suffering. The leaders are telling us, you are enjoying. Now, let's look at it critically, or let's look at it on a broader light. The impunity in Rivers is massive. There was a Supreme Court judgment that says, go and present the budget to the House of Assembly. One man said, don't receive him. Nobody said anything. Then a squash local government election that you had, the man obeyed and told them to step down. But as we speak, the sole administrator has brought in caretaker committee to the local government. Not only did he bring a caretaker committee, now we also have in the state a sole administrator, which makes it very illegal. The whole country have cried and said, this is not good. Did the president hear us? If the president we elected he would have listened. So that's
But
also
according to
Hold on, let me-
say Supreme Court have said
we agree.
you won and we have agreed.
No. I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
He is already president.
Yes.
But if we were the one that put him there as president,
I mean, you might not have voted for him, but some people did.
so we agreed. Well, no, what's democracy? Democracy is about popular rule.
Yes, no.
Am I correct? You have your way.
Popular rule doesn't have to include you.
No, but I have my say.
Certainly.
But I have my say. That's democracy.
Certainly.
I have my say.
Democracy, yes.
So the impunity that first thing they first of all said, Supreme Court, was that the local government has an autonomy. And they say that if you don't have the autonomy of the local government, money will not be sent to you. What we have in Rivers State, even at the local government level, is it autonomous? Is it by election? Not only that, the last one, as we speak, they have taken a budget of 1.48 trillion to the National Assembly for it to be passed.
Yeah.
You
think it will not pass?
No. We're analyzing and looking at how things ought to be and bringing it
It
to
has passed second reading.
it has passed second reading.
Yes.
Now, who is going to administer that 4.8 trillion, 1.48 trillion?
Those that presented the budget.
Those are present, and meanwhile, the Supreme Court said that if it's not, the local government is not autonomous, don't give them money.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
That's true.
So
We are
based on
talking about.
based on what you said, and that's why I know that between June 12th, there's no miracle.
There's no
But
miracle.
see, they won't miracle.
They would have
They won't have sent that budget.
Exactly. They would have sent the budget.
All right. Let's talk about listening to those that voted for you, like you just said a while ago. Former Governor Suswam, Governor of Benue State, has repudiated, I don't know the word to, he berates Asiwaju, flogged him and said, governors that are decamping to APC can't save you, face Nigerians, ignore psychophants, Nigerians are suffering. Do you think Asiwaju is not aware Nigerians are suffering?
Yeah, I think there is a communication gap. There is a gulf between reality and fiction for where he is. I think they've created a fiction for him. They don't present reality for you. What Suswam has said, just the basic truth that is out there. He said something that was key. He said Obi never had any governor, no elected member. He said consistent numbers. Meaning this jamboree of people moving might not save him. What will save him is touching the lives of the masses on the streets. It's not by dishing out figures for us. It's dishing out, we've paid our IMF loan, our inflation has dropped, the economy is peaking. These are good on paper, but in reality, nothing has changed. My saying 10,000 I had 2 months ago cannot buy more today. Meaning, what you said.
And you cannot even earn more.
Yeah, what you mean? My purchasing power has not changed. The same value of my money last 3 months is the same value now. So the figures you're giving out means nothing. What Nigeria needs now is real governance, which I don't think they're doing. They're playing politics, which is quite early. So as Suswam he just said what is obvious for everyone to see.
All right.
No matter how you tell me that the macro economy is looking good, it must rain.
Yeah, I'm coming. It will rain by the grace of God. Nigeria will be good.
No, the rain I say it must rain. It must connect to the micro economy.
Yeah, it will. So that we can feel it in our skin.
We can feel it in our skin.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
The crowd can't gather and we don't
now
feel the
he
rain.
talked about, Peter raised something, talked about communication gap. Yeah. If you were not here in the morning, Naikon mentioned something when we were talking about his, analyzing his statement, that whatever it takes the president to know what the people are feeling, that it is his duty. As a matter of fact, he made a passing statement not to denigrate people living in Mbappe.
Yeah.
Certainly, Mbappe is not as a high-profile area like Use or Metama.
There's part of Mbappe that
it's beginning to pick up recently. Yeah. But just like back in the days, I gave an example like we have a Jagula. Once you mention a Jagula back then, it's like
Morocco.
Morocco back then before it was touched. So he said he's not asking the president to go and live in Mbappe. But even though he decides to do so, that is not a bad idea. If that is what it will take him to see and understand what the people are feeling. Now, the communication gap, You can't bridge it by what the Minister of Information says. You can't bridge it by what your SSA and SA and PAs and ODAs say. You can also not bridge it from what the sycophant National Assembly members who are found in our front say. Ababi was discarding the countenance of Nigeria the other day by saying, oh, we are the one to impeach you, Mr. President, if you didn't do well, and we are not impeaching you. That means you are doing well. Mr. President cannot feel the temperature of the people from this National Assembly, the current National Assembly. He can't. They are all praise singers. On your mandate, we stand. Nigerians need to stand on the mandate of Asiwaju. How can Asiwaju break out of this wall and come and live in Mbappe so he can feel the temperature of the people?
He doesn't have, with all due respect to him, and things that we don't choose. We are just mere mortal.
Yeah.
Asiwaju doesn't have the physical strength to do that. I've always said it. It may look as if it doesn't matter. It does matter.
No, it does.
Now there's a physical strength and there's a will.
It does.
That comes. It does.
It does.
Asiwaju can't just stand up today and say, I'm going to do a tour of the Southeast.
It does. I was representing the staff this morning. I said, you can't be seated there and you need to stand. You need energy
to make things
You need
work.
energy to function.
Even the strength you are using to talk now.
You see the way I'm doing it.
Do you understand?
I agree.
That strength is not there. He can't stay on his table and work for 18, 19, 20 hours, receiving people, talking on this one, and that one. He cannot. Let's not. They say, oh, he can work from anywhere. Can work. It's not true.
It's not completely
He doesn't have that. And that's number one. Then number two, Asiwaju has been doing politics forever. As a president, he's still doing politics. He's supposed to be governing, not politics.
Yes.
As the man in charge in Lagos, he calls everybody, he wakes up. Make this man a commissioner. That's what he has been doing. He has not been governing. People have been coming to him. That's what we still have. Since he came, the EFCC that we have, how many people have they convicted apart from Emefiele?
But the EFCC chairman came to say that they are not
what he says?
He said they are not being controlled by
Is
the
it what he says or what we see? Let's at this point in time, we will take people from what they say and not what we see, not what they say. I told you just now, if the cloud gather, we say it's going to rain, and it will rain, we will see the rain. Let's see the rain.
All right.
Let's see
so
that.
I was taking a jibe at Asiwaju that this politics you're doing at this time is not going to work in 2027. That the people are the one you should face. Face them now. Just about every other person is saying this same thing. You have 2 years to make it right. Forget about this Fitch rating, foreign reserve increase, this and that. When you remove the subsidy, the people knew from day one. Each filling station started turning their price immediately. The people want to be the one to report to you, Asiwaju. You don't need to tell us that what you did, your works are working. The people need to come to you, Baba. Your works are working. We will vote for you again. Suswam said this is the time. He shouldn't miss it. This is the time to face the people. This is the time to go out of that barricade and face the people. Do you think they have to correct the mistake of not making provision? Yeah, everybody will go for removal of subsidy and all that to correct the mistakes of not making any provision before taking us those giant strides. They could still do it. They still have 2 years.
Yeah. So the truth is that most people that have spoken, I don't think they are against the removal of subsidy. Even Suswam was against it.
Yeah.
So, but there was no plan to mitigate the pains. If you remove subsidy and you give people a minimum wage, there's not a living wage. What have you done to mitigate their pains and suffering? That is the concern. You floated Naira and we are not producing. What have you done to cushion the effects? The approach should be people-oriented. You don't build politics on the air. It should be human. You talk about humans. How do I affect this person? So what do I do to cushion this person's impact on this person? This government has not done anything to cushion the impact of these policies on the ordinary man on the street. Honorable is one bring the brunt of these policies.
One time, Senate Chief Whip, I think he was the first Senate Chief Whip in the Fourth Republic that during Obasanjo's time, Senator Vie or something.
From Benin,
yes. Very smart, aware.
Yes.
He said the removal of subsidy was chaotic. Do you think it was chaotic?
Yes. Now I want to. I'm very happy that you asked me this question.
Yeah.
What is wrong with subsidy? There is nothing wrong with subsidy.
There's subsidy everywhere, actually.
There's nothing wrong with subsidy.
Yes.
What everybody said was wrong with subsidy was that the money was going into few hands. That's the major part.
Let me tell you, let me, in support of you, I said it, if you remember. There was actually nothing wrong with subsidy. What was wrong was only wrong with the government.
Thank you.
That was just what it is.
That's what's wrong with
You see,
subsidy.
Let's give an example of the one that is very, very physical and simple. One of the things they cited was that our tankers were going across the country to the Republic of Benin.
That's one.
That one, let's treat it.
Okay.
Who is in charge of the border?
The government.
Truck, tanker, is it this microphone?
No.
Can you just throw it and say, Wale, go to the other side, collect it from the
Since
bush?
they say we use broom in Edo to fly, they were flying it through the
Even
broom.
all of them are from Edo State. Can they fly the tanker from the... so you have...
That's number one.
You have immigration. Okay. You have all the apparatus.
Police,
security
soldiers.
apparatus at the border. You are now citing that petrol tankers are crossing the border. That is one of the reasons for removing.
How they cross it? Can they cross through border through illegal paved road that is illegal? No. Then secondly, the ones that they said they are bringing, that most of them don't bring in the product, but they collect.
Who was also in charge of the system?
Thank you. The seaports they come through, the tank farms that they have, do they see them deposit?
Now let me come to you. I am not saying there are no corruption in private sector, but it's very rare. How many corruption cases have you had, coming from MTN?
Or Dangote?
Or even banks, even few banks, you understand? Private sector. Why does it have to be the government agency that is in charge?
Because of the porosity.
Why are they in charge? When you realize that it's only in a government agency you see, go to a little private sector. You're not going to find any corruption. But if you go to our government sector, you begin to see this. Why don't us just remove that government agency that is doing that? Have a PPP arrangement.
You see, that's what I wanted to talk. Sorry, that's what I wanted to talk when we got to FCTA.
Yes.
Most of the thing FCTA, Ministry of FCTA is supposed to be doing is supposed to shrink the workers.
That's right.
And seed a lot of areas for developmental sake. Now, in that development and also collection of this grand rent that we're talking about, if it's projected that XYZ of houses are in Lokoguma, for example, bungalows, semi-detached, detached, whatever, they categorize them. Your land is 250 square meter. Your land is 750 square meter. This is what is paid. There's a projection that this amount will come out from Lokogoma district.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Certainly.
Now, if 2 million, for example, come out from Lokogoma district, FCDA takes their own, right? Now, the people that is seated to, this road will be
to do
in this year.
Several number of years you collect your money.
Collect your money. It's very this is rocket science.
And we have people who have never tested their hands in private sector
business.
or any business. They actually don't know how to run business.
No.
They will come into government or they'll be running business.
Yes.
Because government expenditures are not entirely based on profit and loss.
No.
They are based on benefit and cost.
Yeah.
So oftentimes their knowledge in running government can't work in these areas, where you have to economically spend money and also recoup. This also takes us back to the populace. How is it that, let's just assume INEC is going to be fair this time, how do we educate our people to start having confidence in those who have run private sector before to be voted into office? There's no way, no matter how bad it is. It can't be exactly as these same people who all they know their life is to be sycophant. For being sycophants, they'll be appointed. From that place, they find their way into the government.
So it has everything been equal that INEC is going to do their work.
Yes.
So we should look at pedigree. We should see a CV. Where have you worked? See, to lead a people it's not magic. You have to have done it before. What have you done before now? You want to be president? Where have you worked? What industry have you managed? What is the highest number of people you've worked with? See, we should look at capacity. So what the most thing that set us back in this country is religion and tribalism. Now I'm beginning to see that Nigerians have gone beyond that. Only issue is INEC, and we're hoping that they are fair. Nigerians know who to vote. Don't be deceived.
Yeah.
Because they've seen voting religion has not helped them. Voting tribal man has not helped them. Now they want to vote for capacity. They want to vote for individuals that have knowledge of what to do. And there must be a proven record that you've done these things before. It don't come from nowhere and say, I've been the chairman for 8 years, I've been a councillor, I've been a commissioner. That is being government.
You are almost being...
Are you reading Wike CV?
You're almost correct. Let's go to a place where people think the governor is performing. For example, someone like Oti was from private sector. Oti is from private sector, and even his enemies can acknowledge he's trying.
Enemies is too far.
Yeah. So even one of the speakers that came to their program, he's celebrating 2 years in office, transformational development and how to sustain it. One of the remarkable things they want to do is that all the achievement they've gotten through executive action in the last 2 years, they want to make it a policy thing and make it a permanent thing, within the system. So it doesn't have to be by your discretion or prerogative. The system can continue to run itself so that the infrastructures they have on ground can be maintained over time. So one of the things working for OT is that even people are telling him that you are free to borrow money, that you can borrow money.
Not just the people, even the minister that came.
Unlike the one Atiku is predating don't borrow again, because one of the reasons why people might tell you don't borrow again is, one, if they are not confident on how you are using it.
No, the one we are borrowing, where did he go to?
They don't think you are borrowing for the right reason.
They're talking about Abia State.
They don't think you are borrowing for the right reason. But that of Abia State, people can see it, and they think he's borrowing for the right reason. And they're telling him, if you want to borrow.
Okay, now he also replied with a statement.
Yeah.
He said, when it gets to where I will borrow. That means there's no need for most of the borrowing that goes on. They heap debt for the state because they know they're not going to be there forever. And most of this debt, they steal it. Now, there's what you call cost analysis for everything that you do. If I'm borrowing $50 billion, I will say this 50 billion will go in this senatorial district. Right? Where every state has 3 senatorial districts. Yeah. Therefore, you apportion it through the constituencies. And say this constituency will take this water project. This constituency will take this road project. This constituency will take will build some factories here. Most of the governors that borrow, let's even leave the president. Yeah. Because this country is incompetent.
The governors take 70% of the federation account.
What do they do with it?
No.
But
nobody's calling the governor.
They all borrow.
Yes.
All the governors all borrow.
Nobody talks about it.
No, that's what I'm telling you. All the governors all borrow. Now the money they use, we see Bago in Niger State. He's borrowing. But we can see he's opening up channels for farming. He's opening up channels.
Even the face of insecurity they are facing.
Exactly. And he's also facing the insecurity squarely and making sure he's expanding the government. But most of even this Abia, they've been borrowing. But we've never seen anything there in Abia.
He said something. They asked me a question. How were you able to fund some of these projects? Did you borrow? He laughed. He said something. He said, because it's coming from the private sector. So I went to the bank do Jilvega, letter of comfort. They're doing a receive a free allocation. Do them a letter of comfort that every month at social time they get this money. Because he's done it in private sector.
That's right.
Some of these people, they never manage business.
They don't know, there's what we call limiting factors.
Exactly.
They don't know how to handle limiting factors.
And he said it cuts down the cost of governance.
All right, I wish we could continue to discuss this, but let's see. I don't know how tomorrow's program is, if we're going to be able to have matters arising section. Maybe we'll continue from where we stopped. Thank you guys for being around. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Kingsley. So, thank you you viewers for hanging in there, and this is Matters Arising. Until next time.